West Tigers fans, we've had 3 days of partying, celebrating that win over the Sydney Roosters. Let's celebrate it a little bit more, and we'll preview the game up against the Whales on another episode of West Tigers Live. West Tigers fans, welcome into another episode of the West Tigers Live podcast. A bit of more of a spring in our step this week. Boys, got a win. Let's celebrate it again. As there's a bit of a striptease off to the side. It's getting hot in here. Take off all your clothes, as. Let's celebrate another win. Plenty to talk about. Plenty of Richo. We've got some Richo clips to play. Thank you to all of our YouTube subscribers. We've been saying all year we wanted 2005. That was the aim by the end of the season, and we've done it. The Tigers have matched their wins for last year, and we've matched our aim in YouTube subscribers. So if you're on there, shouts to all of you coming in on the YouTube stream. Please give us a subscribe. I think we're at 2011. So we're a good year. We're in a good
second week of the final.
Gone past the 2005 into 2011. We'll be in the Ivan Cleary years eventually, and then into the future. So please give us a like, get those numbers up. Actually, Brendo said we should aim for 2,500 for 25 years of the Tigers. Maybe that can be our next goal. So we'll make that and give us a follow on all the socials. The talk's going off at West Tigers Life on the talk. On the X, on the Instagram, Adele's on the X now as well. He's interacting with all the fans and stuff on X as well. And lots of love for Adele, Mr. Bashara. Great show on Sunday night. I'll give it a plug, but I think every single West Tigers fan just about has had a listen to that, because he's 1,000 messages coming through. People saying how much they enjoy it, and finally talking about a win. How good?
Yeah, it was a great show by Adele anyway. I wasn't quite prepared for it, but Adele's got a really unique perspective on the game, looks at it from the coach's lens. And yeah, when you couple that with how much he loves the West Tigers, I think that's what resonates with all the fans. So thanks for all the love you guys are showing him. He really appreciates it. And we're getting a little bit more active on Twitter now, and he's calling out some people and making waves. So yeah, he's a good listen, and he'll be joining us later tonight, hopefully when we preview the game.
We'll have to say the magic words. Mr. Thompson, how are you this evening? We were here, Orange Grove, on Sunday afternoon. Yeah, shouts to Shano and Brendo joined us for that one. We were, you can see the live stream is still up there. Well, it's not live anymore, I guess. You can see the stream of us live reacting to that finish there. I put a clip up on the top. We were nervous as hell up to the 80th minute. We were never comfortable, but we finally did it. It was a great afternoon at the Orange Grove Hotel, wasn't it, Az?
Yeah, g'day Josh, g'day Rob, g'day everyone watching and listening. Yeah, you're not wrong. Our team always find ways to make it stressful for us. I'm a big believer in the fact that the stress that the team causes me is the reason for all the grey hair I've got so soon. So I'm operating on that theory at the moment, but yeah, I mean, you could see we were all standing up, we were all stressed out in defiance as the Roosters made that comeback. The last 5 minutes, we thought maybe that penalty goal would help us have it in the bag, but even then we couldn't rest easy, because obviously they scored that literally last minute try through Tedesco, which got them back within 2 again, and then. Yeah, it was a miracle play for them, the miracle play they needed that they didn't get. So relief all round, I think, to end the losing streak. But that's kind of the prevalent theory at the moment, isn't it? You when a team's on a bit of a losing streak and constantly finding ways to lose, winning that first game to break that streak is never time and time again. We prove that.
So you're saying we'll never lose again? All wins from here, as is called it on the show. Before we get into the Richo clips, plenty of talking points to come out of that. Please support Keen Strata. Thank you for coming on board, Keen Strata. They are proudly supporting us tonight. Keen Strata, professional and reliable strata management in New South Wales. If you live in a unit, townhouse, or apartment block, Keen Strata is all about making sure your building runs smoothly with clear communication and no hidden costs. They offer commission-free, exceptional strata management. Their focus is always on what's best for your building and community. Keen Strata is local, independent, and committed to getting things done properly. If you're after strata management that's upfront, reliable, and easy to work with, get in touch with Keen Strata. You can visit Keen Strata at keenstrata.com.au or call 028515 4080 or email info@keenstrata.com.au. If you want to come on board with the West Tigers Live podcast, get in touch with us. That's what's our email address again? Podcast at WestsLife, West with an S, westlife.com. All right, let's get into Richo. He's made a few appearances. Everyone was calling for Richo to come out and tell us what's going on. I've got some clips from the ABC. I believe he was on NRL 360 last night as well. But where should we start? Is there one that you want to kick off first, Rob?
Whatever's easier for you. Do you know what order they're in? Or?
I got them labelled. You can tell me you.
Well, let's start with turning the club around.
Turn the club around?
Yeah, turning the club around. It's going through there. Not working?
No, I didn't have the. It's not fucking plugged in. Fuck! It would have been on my laptop, Mike.
It'll work now?
Yeah, it should.
Squad. I think we had 22 of our 36 players last year who you could really say could play NRL. That's why we ran last in reserve grade. I mean, at the end of the day, we struggled all year with those players. We've made those changes. They're not popular decisions. We had to tell them up front, but we've made all those decisions now. We don't have to make any more unpopular decisions. And the people don't realise just how hard it is to turn around an unsuccessful club. I mean, you've had a lack of success for so long. You've got to change the whole way the squad thinks. You've got to change the squad. I think we had 22 of our 36 players last year who you could really say could play NRL. That's why we ran last in reserve grade. I mean, at the end of the day, we struggled all year with those players. We've made those changes. They're not popular decisions. We had to tell them up front. But we've made all those decisions now. We don't have to make any more unpopular decisions. And the people don't realise just how hard it is to turn around an unsuccessful club. I mean, you've had a lack of success for so long. You've got to change the whole way the squad thinks. You've got to change the squad. I think we had 22 of our 36 players last year who you could really say could play NRL. That's why we ran last in reserve grade. I mean, at the end of the day, we struggled all year with those players. We've made those changes. They're not popular decisions. We had to tell them up front. But we've made all those decisions now. We don't have to make any more unpopular decisions. And the people don't realise just how hard it is to turn around an unsuccessful club.
All right. Going well tonight. It played multiple times then. That's all right. Rob, what Richo said there, turning the club around. Apologies, audio was coming through my laptop, not through the mics. I didn't have the mics plugged into the laptop. You think after 200 shows, I would have learned the lesson by now. But anyway, on we go, on we march.
Well, mate,
this is why we don't do the Adele show.
I think in future,
live.
when you're going to replay something multiple times, make sure it's the tries we score.
Yeah.
We can handle that. We're happy to see those and hear the audio for those. Look, there was a lot of things Richo said there about turning the club around. I made a few notes. He said he took over a $5 million debt. We're now turning over a profit all within 12 months. We've got our own independent board that seems to have been unanimous in every decision it's made. And they've got no involvement from Holman Barnes in terms of that. He also mentioned, not in that clip, we'll be playing 3 or 4 games out of Leichhardt per year once that's all fixed up, and all our NRLW games will be played out of there. The Campbelltown thing, he just wanted to emphasise that it hasn't been 3 months that he's been pushing for funding. He's been pushing for funding for 18 months. and he's after a 5-year, $50 million commitment or 10-year, $100 million commitment. And that's pretty much it. So like from the stuff before it, and obviously what you heard there about turning over so many players from our roster, it does take a lot of time. But again, you can't keep asking our fans to be patient. But in his defense, he only started 18 months ago. So it is a big job. He's achieved a lot already in a short time. I know it doesn't equate to wins at the moment, but I think it's pretty fair to say that all the off-season signings we made, with the exception of potentially, Royce Hunt, have been absolutely great signings. So good on Richo. We are going in the right direction, and it's probably a good night to talk about it after a win instead of 6 losses in a row over a 9-round period.
All right, I'll play the clip of Richo. The sound, I saw Shano's. It does sound like I have ripped this from a podcast, so the audio is probably not the best. It does sound like Richo is a bit got a bit of the bit more Barry White than Shane Richardson, but I think it is.
Can't get enough of Richo, baby.
Right, let's play.
That Jareem Buller and Jerome Luai, who both have clauses that they will be there long term, because as you say, we're in a position now. Galvin goes, we have the Silva going, and supporters get nervous.
Yeah, of course I do. I mean, the West Tigers sort of get, but no one was more nervous than South supporters when I took them over. I can tell you now. At the end of the day, though, it's not the same circumstance, because you've got a situation. We're talking about 2027 with Buller the fullback. And Jerome's going to make a decision next year. I feel very confident that he'll stay. I can't guarantee that, so I won't give you a guarantee. But I will say this to you. Players don't stay if the club's not stable and they don't see a future. That's the bottom line. So my job is to stabilise the club, which we've done, change the things which I've outlined previously to you, put faith in a coach who I think will be successful, stabilise those people around him, have a board that's behind him 100%, and then we'll see what results come. Because they won't stay if it's not that way. They wouldn't have stayed in the previous period that was there. They wouldn't have even got them in the previous period.
Okay, so we have to assure.
So, what do you make of that from Richo? Does that make you feel more confident we're going to keep these guys, or do you think the club's got a handle on it?
Yeah, he makes a lot of sense. I think it is really important for the stability to have those players want to stay in in an environment that they know is going to be stable and not too tumultuous. Because as we are well aware, we've had a really tumultuous time on field and off field as of late. Like he mentioned at the start of the chat there, that I don't know if you've clipped it or not, but talking about the ways that the club has improved off the field, particularly financially at first. And so there's all of that, which is good. Plus there's no meddling or less meddling now from the Holman Barnes board, which is also a positive. And then he goes on to talk about the on-field improvement sort of as well. And in saying that, like we've got, like you said at the start of the show, we're now 6 wins, which is equal to our win tally of last year. Last year, it took us 23 games to get that 6th win. This year, it's taken us 16. So we've still got 8 games to go to potentially improve on last year's win total, which was the best out of the 3 Spoon years win total. So, I mean, the club is very clearly already heading in the right direction, both off-field and on-field. We've cut out some of the tumours, I could say, that we've had at the club so far this year, and the players who don't want to be there aren't there anymore. Every player, as we saw on Sunday afternoon, is buying into what Benji's trying to preach and what Benji's trying to bring to the club, which is a good sign moving forward as well. And it does sound pretty relieving that he thinks, or that he's confident the guys will stay and not take the clauses that allow them to leave or whatever they may be. So fingers crossed that we do get Jareem long term. Fingers crossed that Jerome Luai also sees out his full 5 years as well. Anything to add to that, Rob?
It just, the clause on Buller is a clause for 2027 that has an option for the player, Buller, and the club, West Tigers. If Buller exercises the option, he gets 800 grand. If the club exercises the option, he gets 900 grand. So I don't know what the hysteria is about today. I've seen the article from Ricky O. I've seen the article from Shamus. People losing their shit. It's all reported properly. It's not okay. If people get triggered by it, they get triggered by it. But like, I'll be honest, I didn't know what the clause was. I was worried. I'm still worried about Moses because he always seems like he's going to agitate. I mean, someone sent me a message saying that what's his name? Andrew Webster on 360 tonight said that Moses rang the club today and said that everything about him shopping him around is untrue. Well, I want to know that from the club. I don't trust anything Isaac Moses says anyway. But yeah, so I wouldn't be worried about Buller. The one I'm worried about is Jerome Luai. And to me, the only way Jerome Luai leaves is if Benji leaves. And Richo says, I mean, we'll talk a bit about Benji. You've got a Benji clip later from that ABC clip. But Richo said on NRL 360 last night that Benji's here to stay. So if Benji's here to stay, Luai's going to, not take up that option to leave next March, and everyone will be fine. But I get why our fans are nervous because we don't want to start again. We keep starting again every second year. But that Buller clause, it's not a worry for 2027. Yeah, get worried sort of halfway through 26 or whenever he's allowed to negotiate. But he's a happy guy as well, and I think he'll make the right move down the track if we're doing well and stay with the club.
We've got his wife at the club now too, Buller as well. So I think that's probably something that might also encourage him to stay, having that familiarity in the environment with him. Obviously, the NRL and NRLW teams don't do a whole lot together, but they do some things and community appearances and things of that nature. So having
it's 2.5 years away, but
they live
his contract finishes. So you don't know if his wife's going to be there in 2.5 years. That's the thing. But I know what you're saying. It helps.
It's a perk.
It certainly helps.
Sure.
Is
both double income too.
Is Buller's current contract the 800K or is it less than that? Or
no, it's less than that.
It's less than that?
Yeah, I don't know the exact figure, but it's definitely less than that.
A lot of people are saying he's not worth 900K. I think he's worth 900K to us.
He's worth more than that. I didn't even push back at people today that were disagreeing. I just thought you can't.
Like, have you not watched him play this year?
I know.
And he's 20.
He's our best player.
Is he 22, 23?
I'm not sure what his age is, but he's
young.
nowhere
near his peak.
He's young.
If you don't think he's worth going to be $1 million fullback, you haven't been watching the games this year. He's
given the money thrown around to
talent.
Players in the spine and what he does for our team, he's worth every dollar.
Yeah, I think people just with these contract dollars, I think they just compare it too much to, well, he's getting more than a bricklayer's getting. Like, it's in the context of a rugby league contract for a fullback.
Yeah.
He's worth 900K.
He's worth 900K.
He's 23.
If we can get him for 900, it's a steal. It's not even market value.
Yep. All right, another clip from a Barry Manilow version of Richo, talking about Talau and Silva.
And it was because he's a great kid. He wanted to be here, etc., etc. It got down to a decision though, where you sit down, and I'm sure South did this with their halfback a few years ago, where
Adam Reynolds.
Yeah, where you say, you've got this young kid coming through, but we're going to let this kid go who's won premierships and won everything else with you because we think this kid's going to do the job. And he didn't. Now, our situation was, you've got Appy Coruscant, who's won premierships, who's a leader of the club, captain of the club, loyal, puts in every week. You see it every week. He's Fijian. He could play till he's 56, being a Fijian. But the bottom line was, mate, we felt for the good of the club that we had to re-sign Appy Coruscant. And I promised his parents, De Silva's parents, that I'd tell them when we made that decision. We made that decision. Now, we could have hung on to him for another year and made him play reserve grade and come up underneath. But from our point of view, we felt we could, if he wanted to go, we could take that money and spend it more wisely in positions we need for next year, which we're well aware of it. There's not a lot of them. There's a couple. So that was a decision we made. It wasn't a decision Benji made, or Benji and I disagree with it. There were some of the garbage that goes on out there. Like there's a classic written the other day. I approached Paul McGregor. I never even met Paul McGregor. If I walked past him, he's one of the few players that wouldn't say good day to me because he wouldn't know me. But I've approached De Silva and De Silva, and it was because 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 he's a great kid. He wanted him De Silva, and it was because he's a great kid. He wanted to be here, etc. It got down to a decision where you sit down, and I'm sure South did this with De Silva, and it was because he's a great kid. He wanted to be here, etc., etc. It got down to a decision though, where you sit down, and
We're
I'm
going
sure
live.
South did this with their halfback a few years.
Woohoo! Turn him down. Turn him down. All right. De Silva, hopefully one of the last times that we talk about Talau and Silva, because it's time to move on, I think. But we've said it the last couple of weeks, but Richo didn't say anything there. He's been pretty transparent. I don't think really said anything there that we didn't already know.
Yeah, but what we wanted to know, he didn't answer.
Yeah.
Why did we let him go right now? That's all I care about. It's not.
He does. He says the money.
Well, he says the money, but
Yeah.
you can't. Our squad's on its look. Great job by Tristan Hope, but I'm just saying it wasn't the answer I wanted to hear from that point of view. Definitely, he said everything right about Coruscant and trying to win games and win premierships and all that sort of thing, and making the right decision there. He also goes on to say that the talk about him and Benji not being on the same page about who to keep and who not to keep, that was a little bit interesting as well. But because he has said some quotes previously about Talau and Silva, but yeah, we move on. He's gone. He's now a backup hooker for Parramatta instead of a backup hooker for us.
Yeah, I think like you said, Tristan Hope. I bet Richo was very happy that Tristan Hope played like he did.
Yeah, he did
the other day. He's been named at 14 again this week as well. We don't know how much money it is, but it might be enough money that you give to someone. And someone, I can't remember, someone on X, I believe, was saying we can't use that money anyway. We can. I keep saying it. Use that money. You could give that, if it's 200 grand, give it to Appy now, and instead of paying him 900 grand in 2 years' time, we pay him 700 grand in 2 years' time and give him 200 grand now. So it's
It could be why
his money.
Appy's contract isn't done.
Yeah, that's what I
enough
reckon
yet,
it is.
because he wants to
I reckon
know
they're
who
staggering
we're
it.
getting and what we're doing and who
Yeah.
we're re-signing from that's currently in our squad.
Yep.
Is it worth just maybe talking about the other
one?
issues instead of playing
sure.
instead of playing stuff?
I'm not sure why
It's not your fault.
It's
I'm
all-
just saying it's shit happens, man. It's
I was
technology.
having a little bit of a chuckle at Jason D in the YouTube comments there with the
Where's
press
the
for
Eddie
Eddie key.
Where's the Eddie key? I see Esk, Guitarral.
Okay. At least you're getting some amusement out of it.
Order a tab.
Yeah.
Next,
But anyway, he
next,
basically goes on to say that, Benji's safe for next year. And he was already the coach when he took over. The one thing Richo has done is let Benji have whatever he needs. And I guess from that point of view, it's a two-way street. One, Benji's happy because he gets to do things his way. And from the counter argument, which isn't going to happen, but if everything does go wrong, then Benji can't blame anyone else, or he can't blame that he didn't get the support from the administration. So that was pretty much it about Benji as well.
Righto. That's it. Moving on from Richo. Mentioned the Adele podcast on Sunday night. So that is brought to you by Gym Direct. If you're looking after some fitness equipment as we head towards spring and into summer, you want to get that beach bod and you don't want to go to a gym, getting one at home is the way to go. So Gym Direct is the best place to go. Great value equipment. I've been buying stuff from them for many, many years, running outdoor fitness sessions myself. I've got a whole garage full of Gym Direct gear. They can also do commercial gyms as well, full fit outs, kettlebells, dumbbells, barbells, fitness balls, cable machines, absolutely everything. And you can get 5% off using the code WTLXGD5 for 5% off, or you can get 10% off if you're a qualified personal trainer. Just go to westtigers.com.au. There's a link there that's got the code. So you don't have to try and remember that one. There's a button. It'll take you to their website and have a look around. End of financial year sales going on at the moment. So check it out. And Rob, might as well throw in a plug for our friend Jason at iChoice while we're here.
Give Jason a call at iChoice Informed Loans, 9743 0000. Jason and his team will help you with all your financial needs.
I think I saw he's in Bali at the moment.
He might be. I saw him about 3 weeks ago. He just got back from a trip in the US as well, not long ago. So going well, Jason.
Righto. 30 to 28. Might pull a talking point. I was talking to Brendo before we went on to air. We won this game scoring less tries and on the back of goal kicking. How many times we beat the Roosters the Roosters home ground, which we haven't done since I was 21 years old. I worked out
Wow.
today. I'm 37. And we did it on the back of goal kicking, and we did it with our spine.
Hang on, I want to correct you on that. Wasn't the Lola here game at SFS?
No, that was at a core.
Really?
2018.
That was a
round
call.
one, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Core.
Okay, well, couldn't tell the difference on TV.
I was
sorry.
in Orange when I watched that. Funny enough,
Okay.
I know exactly
Okay.
where I was. I was
Wow.
at the ground. I was at the Orange X Services Club. I'm pretty sure
Okay.
watching that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never. That's one of the ones that I missed it. But
You
yeah,
go
that was a
further.
call.
We not only won by a goal, like the only goal that was missed in the match hit the post.
Mm.
So that's how close we.
Adele
Might have
said
been
it. We
equal.
needed some. You could call it luck, but I think the boys came out with some fire and some vigor and put the Roosters under pressure. But there's a bit of luck that goes into rugby league, and we've had all luck all year in terms of the ball bouncing the right way here or there. A certain half dropping the ball over the line to score a try against the Rabbitohs. Like
You talk about the ball bouncing here and there as well. We were nervous as hell after that first set of the game where they got the goal line dropout because
Yeah.
the ball took a wicked left-hand
the
turn
Doostra.
in the in-goal area, and we ended up not even being able to get it back out of the in-goal when it looked for all money like it was going to go dead. So, and just from that moment where we started to be like, oh, we might be in a little bit of trouble here, but they defended that set and then turned it around.
What other strings do we want to pull? Is there a certain player? We'll obviously talk player by player when we go to the player ratings. But Rob, having watched the game back, you as you said on the coach's report, you watched it knowing the result, so you weren't quite having the heart attack.
Also, it was much more fun watching it today, not stuffing your face, trying to cram in a watch as fast as you can and quickly fast forwarding bits, whatever. I noticed a lot of stuff today that I didn't notice on the weekend, like watching the game. Obviously, both teams were missing players, but what was great about that performance is like those young guys we've got, we're going on waxing lyrical about the Fainus. They're still so raw. Like there's still a lot of things they could be doing better as well. I'm not being critical. Like Latu did some things that were ridiculously good, but like rewatching that first half today, even watching Sione's try, like Sione just gets over because he does an amazing spin. If Sione had probably run to the space, he scores a lot easier and gets the ball put on his chest. There was a moment where Samuela Fainu runs in the line that Adam runs, and Adam gets tackled on the last tackle. If Samuela had bounced out, he would have got a try just like he got in the second half. They're still learning. They're so raw. But to have let's face it, I know we're saying we've got 3 players missing from the spine. If we mention the bloke that went to Canterbury, that's all 4 spine members that we were missing. Like a total.
And our backup, I guess you could throw in the
backup. And Jack Bird pulled out with gastro. And I know they had 13 players unavailable, but like Adele said, only 8 of them could have got in first grade. You know, they can't all be playing first grade at once. So
it shouldn't be too in the coverage. They kept showing the Roosters bench.
How many there were?
Yeah, they weren't really showing Luai and App because Luai and Appy was sitting on the sideline as well.
I saw Luai a bit, but
maybe our boys weren't sitting.
Saw Appy maybe once.
Yeah, but they kept going back to just go, oh, it was like, because it was when the Tigers getting a lead, it was almost like they were going, oh, but don't worry, the Roosters, like, they've got all these good players here. That's why they're losing.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to defend a lead, and especially 12 points. Like the boys did keep playing as well as they could, and obviously the Roosters came back at us at the end. Adele was giving Benji a big rap, obviously, for, you know, like some of the things he was trying to point out at the end near the kickoff. But one thing I noticed today that I hadn't noticed watching the rewatch, young Luke Laulii got caught out so badly multiple times. Luke and Latu swap positions. So Latu's actually defending in the centre position, okay, and he's the one that creams blokes over the sideline and stuff like that. Luke was just getting found out too much. So
that try saver was
obviously that's an adjustment that Benji had found out during the game, and basically Luke was playing 3 in and Latu was playing at centre. And you saw one time when Skelton jammed up for the Savala try, like that was all on Skelton. If Skelton just doesn't jam in there, Latu's got it covered, and Latu's got enough room to slide if the ball goes out the back. There's so much we can improve on. That's the best part about this game. We won, and we did so many bad things. But they're a young team. They're resilient. And like I said, Sunday night, the amount of times we had 4 or 5 guys in a tackle, whether it was pushing someone over the sideline or holding the player up over the line, it was, they gave it their all. You can't ask for more than what they did on the weekend.
Yeah, Gussie's in the comment. Good to see you, Gussie. I haven't seen him in the live show. And shouts to Mark Davis, who sent us a $3 super chat. Good on you, Mark. Appreciate that. Go you didn't write a message, but I'll say go Buffalo Bills for you. There you go. That's your super chat. Thanks. Righto, let's do player ratings. And I take that back. Go Broncos. Benji Marshall, 8.2. Let's just pull on that.
Well,
much better from Benji, as you
just
pointed
that
out.
one move alone probably saves us the game. Just having Latu defend out there, because he needed to keep Luke on the field, but he needs to not expose him as badly as he did. And how good's Latu? Besides the fact that he can do what he does at halfback, he can run, he can tackle, he can kick, and he can pass. He can control the game. He can play any style of shape we want. Mate, we got the right guy. We really got really got a good player.
Absolutely.
In young Latu.
Right, Sunuya Taruva, 7.9. Charlie Staines, 7.8. Luke Lalii, 5.7. Stafford Toa, 7.3. Gerald Skelton, 6.9. Adam Duwahi, 8.7. Latu Fainu, 9.3. Terrell May, 8.7. Tristan Hope, 7.9. Vanor Bole, 8.0. Samuel Afenu, 8.2. Tony Suka, 6.8. Twali, 7.8. Charlie Murray, 6.3. Alex Safar, 6.9. Sione Fainu, 8.2. Kit Loli'i, he was a late change, and I didn't get a chance to, because Jack Bird was a late withdrawal, so I wasn't going to give him Jack Bird's votes, so nothing for Kit, unfortunately. But, 9.3 for Latu, as he had a blinder. Rob just mentioned he is our future, and it's, how many first grade games is he up to now? Maybe a handful, less than 2 hands worth.
About 20, wouldn't it?
For us,
it's less than that, wouldn't it?
Oh, wait, I'll put you on the spot.
He played last year a bit as well, didn't he? I'll find out for you guys. You keep.
But
going.
in terms of starting in the halves,
starting halves is his second game.
Fingers crossed. Knock on the wooden tables at the Orange Grove Hotel that
15.
We get 15. To see. There was much. If you're Tasmanian, there's not much less fingers. This weekend, hopefully, the Luai Fainu, the future, we get to see. As much as how good Adam was, Adam's back in the centres this week. But
I'll argue till the cows come home that Adam was better, but I'm not going to. I know I'm in the minority. I know I'm in the minority.
No. I think Adam. I think you're right.
I thought he was man of the match by a mile. It's not even close.
And what did the people give Adam? So they said he was 0.6 lower. Yeah. I think he said from 7.2. If Adam doesn't.
But you got to remember too, when we're looking at a game and judging it, we're looking at it. We know Latu is the future, and sad to say, we also know we're 99% letting go of Adam.
Well, so the word going around today is that Adam's going to go another year
with us.
Yeah,
I'd love him to. Well, if he keeps playing like that, the club would be mad not to offer him more money. But
the word is he might go another year and then try and go the Bears.
A certain Twitter person might have an aneurysm if Adam signs on.
Oh, that'd be fun
for another year.
He's going to start his own podcast.
I think Saints will get him. I really do. I think they need a half. They got King Kogia. I know they got Flanagan. And again,
it's not a far commute for him either over to Cogra. Although they train Wollongong, don't
they? He straightened us up the other day. And don't get me wrong, Latu was unbelievable, but I don't think we win that game if Adam's not there.
I hope he stays. We've got the Macassini, we've got the May, so
it's whether he'll suck up being a backup, because unless, like Adele said on the weekend, unless we play him at lock or something like that, and I don't know if he can handle the workload defensively. Does he want to be a backup half? And realistically, as great as he defends, he'd definitely be a backup centre. But again, it's great to imagine having guys like Staines and Adam that can come in and do a job, and you think, well, we're not really worse off too much.
As I just saw your comment in there, it is annoying, but no, the mics aren't picking it up. Sunuya Taruva at fullback as 7.9. He had a little bit of a stuff up in the sun in the first half, but apart from that, he was awesome coming up through the middle.
Well, we didn't end up conceding any points from that stuff up in the first half, I don't think. I think that was a little bit earlier in the first half.
Dropout we defended. The first one we did.
Yeah.
Well, no, the stuff up where he dropped the ball in the sunlight.
Oh, yeah, no, we were 20-0.
Yeah, we were still 20-0 at that point.
Yeah.
They didn't score any points from that. But I will say, I think what made up for that was the absolute body on the line, leap into the air when we're trying to defend our line, and the Roosters are coming hard at us. So I think that was a really crucial play in the game, potentially match-winning play as well. So, I mean, yeah, while he had a little bit of a mare in the first half there with that, or with a couple of those moments that he'd probably like back, overall, it was a really good performance, and I'm glad that he's been named there again this week.
Any other numbers there?
They're all very good numbers.
Yeah, everyone got a nice bump this week. Lots of 8s in there. The 4-pack, Terrell May, 8.7.
Yeah.
I thought Fanua Pole is 0.7 less.
He had some good runs.
Yeah,
he had some really good.
played really well as well. Samuel obviously scored a try, 8.2.
You'd be disappointed, though, if our forward pack didn't play well against, a depleted forward pack as well. Like that. I mean, they had Nafanu White and they had Egan Butcher. But
no matter who you're playing, you still got to work.
Of course.
Still got to do the work. So I thought they...
we got a big class rise this week, and we're playing a absolute monster pack in New Zealand.
As any player you want to pull out there, Stafford Toa is probably a good one. Only 7.3. He did a nice little pop for Charlie's try there. I thought Star was pretty good.
Yeah, that offload for that first try was absolutely incredible. Like Adele said, we probably shouldn't have gone down the short side on that particular play.
I listen to Adele.
But
what does he know?
That,
we scored.
In saying that, it worked, and it was really impressive that he made it work, considering he was wrapped up by 3 Roosters players and got the ball out between 2 of them. So, I mean, I'd probably give Star a little bit more of a score there. Really good defensive efforts as well, which he's, for the most part, which he's shown this year, which is probably the main issue with his game at the moment, I'd have to say. Couple of other players there. The numbers I'm looking at, Samuel Afenu, 8.2. I really like that. Tony Sukar getting a 6.8 surprises me a little bit. While we didn't notice him too much, like Adele said again, he was just going about his business and not really doing anything spectacular, but also not doing too much wrong. So I feel like 6.8 may be a little bit low. Who else am I looking at there?
I can't see the numbers. What was Luke's rating? Just curious how hard they went.
How
hard did they go?
Only 5.7.
Okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
Only
Okay,
5.7.
that's
He's well below
and
every other starter
of the group.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Skelton as well, I feel like has maybe been rated a little bit low, 6.9. Really good carries out of yardage again. We really missed that while he was out. Yeah, he made a couple of defensive lapses where they scored most of their tries. I'm trying to remember which of our wingers was the one who got out-leapt by Daniel Tupou in the first half. I think that might have been
Charlie.
Stainsy. Yeah,
Charlie. He didn't even have to leap. He just stood there and Tupou ran and jumped over the top of him.
Yeah,
you can't do much about that.
Yeah, he's a freak of a player with all that height and ability. So not much can be done about that. But yeah, Skelton, I'd probably give a little bit of a higher score as well. I'd say similar to Charlie, maybe 0.2 or 0.3 lower than Charlie.
Good moment brought up here by our man Riff, who's in the greatest city in United States of America at the moment. He said stopping the roll well try at the start of the game was elite from Tito. Could have been a very different game. Absolutely. That big Fijian hand, keeping that ball up.
Yep.
As much as who was in the bunker? Was it Casey? No, it wasn't Casey, was it?
I don't know.
Goff, yeah.
It was Goff.
No, Goff was with the
field. There were 5 guys in that tackle.
Yeah.
On Rodwell.
But his hand under there, I thought, like, is the bunker going to screw us over here?
And Saruva's going to be better for having a game at fullback now. Like, he'll actually...
G, what
a wanker. Yeah, that was a big moment. Just muscling up, just defending off our line. I know the Roosters didn't have their normal attack, but we scrambled well for most of the game.
All game we were good scrambling. Very good.
Yeah, people can say the Roosters were missing this and missing that. You can only play who's in front of you.
On NRL 360 last night, the first thing Buzz mentioned was the Roosters were missing that many players, and I think it was Gordy who pointed out to him that the Tigers were missing players as well, and probably very influential ones, considering it's 3/4 of their spine just gone.
And with the team coming off 3 wooden spoons, and they're a team that's people are calling possibly like a top 4, could rise to the top 4. So
They've got a better roster.
It's saying that they still could.
Yeah, like
if we're both at full strength, I hate to say it, they'd probably win.
3, 2, 1 time. So based on your votes, Latu Fainu got the 3. Adam and Terrell pipped him by 0.1. So he gets the two there, and Adam gets the 1, according to you guys. Who did you go for?
So I gave my 1 point to Sam Weller. I thought he had a really, really solid game. Again, lots of damaging carries, lots of post-contact meters, really trying to get us on the front foot as much as he could. Scored a really nice try again as well. My 2 points I gave to Tristan Hope. I thought he had a really, really good game. A lot of crisp passes out of dummy half. Made 41 tackles, missed 0. He got players... he played the ball to players and passed the ball to players who were on the front foot to give us some much needed momentum in sets, particularly in the first half of the game was where I noticed him the most. Just a really solid game. And I think we've got a really good foil for Appy off the bench now, and good to see him named there this week. And I gave my 3 points to Latu Fainu. Absolutely outstanding game from him, not only in attack, but also defensively. I counted off the top of my head 3 try-saving efforts from Latu, especially the one that gave him what looked to be a burner, but looked like it could have been a lot worse over the sideline there for the Rodwell try in the possible Rodwell try in the second half. Plus a couple of really, really good legs, tackles, body on the line tackles. He just tried everything he could to get us over the line, and it was a really great game. Was really happy to see him play as well as he did, and I can't wait to see the halves combo we were supposed to have last week, or 2 weeks ago now, I should say, out there on the field this weekend.
You're good. Roberto, I've dropped off whoever your 2 was, but do you remember off the top of your head?
I'm pretty sure I would have given Terrell May.
Yeah.
Is Terrell May there?
No, that's who's probably
okay. Well, I've given Latu 1, and maybe that's being harsh. I mean, I think
I've got Twally there.
There were three players worthy of man of the match, really. And the thing with Terrell May now is we just expect him to make 40 tackles, 50 tackles, none miss, 180, 200 meters. He does it all the time now. So, it goes back to the days of, Robbie Farah playing sort of games like that. And unless Robbie scored 2 tries, you didn't notice him. I think Terrell May's getting to that territory now. So I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Latu Fainu, man, he sets up tries, he saves them. The moment that Aaron's mentioning where he stops Rodwell in the second half, if you see where he came from, he's literally 4 or 5 men in and beats 2 or 3 of his teammates to Rodwell to smash him over the line. Adele's gone into detail about the try that led to his brother Samuela scoring, the way he took those 3 men in. He actually catches the ball, one off the ruck, runs to the right in between Docker Clay and Nafanu White, and literally freezes the A, B, and C defender, and that creates all that space. He's just doing things that I didn't realise. That picking up that loose ball and scoring the try, I mean, anyone can do that, but again, I didn't realise how fast he was. He's got a lot of toe on him for someone that's got a couple of bad hamstrings, and his kicking game's good. There are a couple of instances, like he could have put one of his brothers over for a try in the first half. Again, you'd have to... It'd be nice if we had video or still footage where we could show people. But his brother would all he just had to do is just go short, and his brother's through the hole next to the left-hand post, and he takes a different option. But look, that's the thing. Like, all those brothers played so well, and they're so raw, and they got so much more to learn, and they're going to be so much more better. So, look, full credit to how they're giving their all for the club, and how much they love Benji. And finally got to hear what Latu said about Benji Marshall after the game, and that was really nice. Just the fact that he said he'd play anywhere, for the team. That's that team first mentality that you want from every player in your squad. And right now, given who that squad is, there's no one that doesn't believe in that team first mentality.
If you haven't seen it as well, Rob, there's another interview with Matty Russell and all 3 of the Fainus on the NRL.com app or website. So
I'll check it out.
Have a listen to that too. It's a really good little chat with the 3 of them.
It's so much funner consuming content after a win, isn't it? Just
a lot better.
Yeah, it's just...
honestly, like doing the pod with Adele on Sunday night, I was totally unprepared, but I've just never felt so relaxed. It was just like having a phone call with Adele. and just chatting for an hour on the phone. Like
Yeah.
that's just, but when you're losing and you're uptight or you're upset with a ref or a player costing you a game or something like that, it's just much harder to talk about losses and try and, not be emotional about them.
The best comments from this week, Kim R said, no one gave us a chance. A team missing 3 of our best spine. The guys played so well. Hope at hooker was very good. AD and Latu were sensational in the halves. The forwards all did their job. So proud of the team. Certainly a memorable game for the brothers, all scoring a try. Taruva at fullback was defensively brilliant. Saved so many tries. Congrats to Benji and the team. Now let's do it again next week. And now the media might get off our backs and go grill some other team. David G said, always a moment where my heart doesn't cope, but what a great effort from the entire 17. Fainu trio are very quickly becoming club favourites. Great game, lads, Tigers. And Steve said, rather than looking for the negatives, I chose to, this one might be from last week that I haven't. Dream. I know. Rather than looking for the negatives, I chose to comment about the positives. The team's objective was to win, and that's what they did. Playing without Appy, Jerome, and Dream, the team needed to believe in each other and be fierce in everything they did, which they accomplished. The commitment and will to win for the club was apparent as the amount of try-saving tackles weren't by chance. Also, 3 wins for the NRL, New South Wales Cup, and Jersey Flag was a great achievement against excellent opposition. Righto, who for the $20 voucher at the Orange Grove Hotel, contact us, Craig, who picked us. Craig slide into our DMs or podcast at westlife.com. As you want to read your winner?
Craig said, a game won off the back of a halfback's defense. Latu Fainu has arrived. That was one of, if not the best performance in both attack and defense by a 19-year-old half I have ever seen. Credit to a lot of the boys, especially Bolle, Samuela, Sione, and AD, but also some unsung heroes like Hope and Luke, who had to come up against the Roosters and put up a hell of a fight. Taruva didn't disappoint at fullback either. I think today was a good testament to the team and also Marshall, who got these boys up for the fight, and I think game managed well.
And Roberto, your winner this week,
Blaine Caton.
Caton.
And
son of
if you want to get a voucher off me, go 50 words or less.
50.
Okay, I
go.
am not
Little
reading
hint.
any of those essays. I think AD's long kicking game was massive.
We appreciate them all, though.
Of course. You read them. Definitely could have used some variance in the bombs and instead of just end over end. Tito and Staines, both unreal coming out of yardage. Latu, just so classy with his touches. And honestly, that I don't like using a word like class because of how it differentiates people and stuff like that. But Latu is class. He's so good.
He is very classy. And speaking of classy, the Orange Grove Hotel. So Craig and Blaine, slide into our DMs or email podcast at westlife.com and we'll tell you how to come claim $20 at the Orange Grove Hotel, which you can you can come any Wednesday night. We'll be here Sunday.
Come and claim them on Sunday.
Come claim Sunday.
Have
watch
lunch
it
with
with
a
us.
few of us. We're going to be, or some of us are going to be here at 1 o'clock to have a bite to eat and a drink. An hour should give us plenty of time to
great palmies,
digest the food and get ready for the game and fire up for the New Zealand boys.
Absolutely, which we're going to preview right now. Maybe while I'm doing that, maybe summons our special guest. As 2 p.m. on Sunday against the Waratahs. Do you want to go through the team? I've probably caught you off guard a little bit here, but do you want to go through the team list for us?
Yep, I'm just bringing it up.
Just think of the best possible team we could have picked this week, and you don't even need to look at the list. That's the best 17 Benji Marshall could have named. Whether we win or lose, I love this team this week.
So do I. So fullback is Sunia Taruva, Charlie Staines and Gerald Skelton on the wings with Adam Dewey back in the centres with Stafford To'a, Jerome Luai back in the halves with Latu Fainu, Terrell May and Fanua Bolle as front rowers with Api Coruscant at hooker, Samuela Fainu, Tony Suka and Alex Twal make up the rest of the back row. The bench is Tristan Hope, Alex Seyfarth, Sione Fainu and Jack Bird. Heath Mason is 18th man. The rest of our reserves are Charlie Murray, Kit Lauli'i, Brent Naden, and Luke Lauli'i.
All right. How are we feeling as you relief, a bit of phlegm there after that reading. As I'm going to make you go back to back. How are we feeling? How are you feeling about this one?
I really like this team. Like I mentioned before, I'm really glad Taruva's been named a fullback again. I think he deserves another game there. While I was a little bit worried that Heath Mason would be named there, considering he was only suspended for 1 week, I'm fine with him.
18th man.
So which is much better. And obviously Tristan Hope getting the bench spot in the 14, much deserved after a really rock solid game as well. Adam Dewey back in the centres. He does add a little bit of a kicking game down the side there, potentially if needed. And like I mentioned before as well, really excited to see this Jerome Luai and Latu Mainu combo that we got a little bit of a glimpse at against the Raiders, but we were meant to see against Manly. But unfortunately, due to the infection for Jerome, we didn't get to see that. So, yeah, and I mean, the front row as well, no changes there. We've still got our best 2 starting front rowers. Tony Sukar getting another run in the second row as well is really good. I'm thrilled with this team, actually. I love it.
I was just thinking, we might have had the Jack Bird flu.
Is that bad enough for me to walk out the door right now and just not come back?
Say the magic words for me, Roberto.
Benji Marshall.
It's nice to know when you're. It's nice to know when you're going to be coming in after Rob uses those words.
Can you hear him all right, Rob?
Yeah, I can hear you well. How are you, mate? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm going well. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. We want your perspective on this wonderful team. You've already shot me a text this afternoon. I know how much you love the team, but talk us through it, mate. I just want to mention I love the fact that Jack Bird's on that bench and hopefully he's used in that middle rotation, although he will be back up for Suka as a right edge back rower.
Yeah, I think it's the best possible team we could pick. I'm glad Tito stayed at fullback. I think the yardage carries out of Charlie Staines and Jarrell Skelton make a really big difference for us, and obviously Tito on the back of that. You've seen last week, Tito took a lot of tackle 5 carries, which I've talked about previously. I think it's really important to us, and I reckon he almost took that upon himself. I don't think it was a plan. I mean, I say I don't think it was a plan, but I feel like he did it himself, which allows us to get a good front line. Obviously, Uppy and Jerome returning. Looking at this Warriors team, the other thing to note is a little bit of a benefit for us. It's a 2:00 game in New Zealand, it's a 2:00 game for us, which means it's a 4:00 game in New Zealand. So you will get a little bit of daylight for the first hour of the game. And I think that's pretty crucial coming up against the Warriors, where normally most of their games are in the evening at this time of year, where it's dewy, wet, very slippery. It suits them. Probably, I guess not having Metcalf is going to change the way they play. And I think the plan for me is pretty simple this week and how you take them on. But I think they're there to be beat, to be honest.
Adele, have you seen the New Zealand team? I'm quite surprised. I'm assuming Nickel Clockstad's injured. They've got Tuapiki at fullback and Tanner Boyd's in at halfback. I think I mentioned on Sunday night I expected Tamare Martin to start, but Tamare Martin's on the bench.
Yeah, I think Webster's a very good coach. I think he likes to keep a bit of stability in what he does. So I think his plan is just to bring Tanner Boyd in, do the same sort of role Metcalf does in regards to kicking a lot of support play. Metcalf's not really much of a ball player. Neither is Tanner Boyd. They're very, they're good support players. They both have a decent kicking game, and they like to run the ball. Tanner Boyd is not the same sort of threat that Luke Metcalf is, and Tanner Boyd defensively is I'm going to be nice. I shouldn't use that word. I'll use it anyway. Who cares? He's a bit of a turnstile in D. So I think that's got to be the part of the field we attack. I think I'm not sure because the Warriors do chop and change a little bit with their back row and who plays where. And the other thing that I've noticed is Kurt Capewell has been named on the extended bench. I'm sure he'll back up from Origin, so he'll come in and I reckon there'll be a bit of a reshuffle for them, and he'll probably start either in the back row or in the centres. So that'll be very interesting.
Well, as it is now,
mate, rattle off the rest of their team real quick.
The Warriors?
Yeah,
go for it.
Go for it.
So their fullback is Tane Tuapiki. Dallin Wateni-Zelezniak returns on the wing along with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Adam Pompey and Rocco Berry are in the centres with Chanel Harris-Tavita and the aforementioned Tanner Boyd at halfback. James Fisher-Harris and Jackson Ford are their front rowers with Wade Egan at hooker. Lika Halasima has been promoted to the starting side in the second row along with Marata Niokore. Aaron Clark is at lock. Tamade Martin, Jacob Laban, Dimitrik Viamelga and Tanner Stowers-Smith are their bench. Eddie Iremaya Toiava is their 18th man, with the rest of their reserves being Samuel Healy, Bunty Afor, Edward Cozzy, and the aforementioned Kurt Capewell.
Adele, looking at this team too, I mean, you've mentioned that they interchange their forwards quite a bit. Niokore at the moment is in the back row. I'm assuming he'll actually go to right edge and Halasima would be left edge if it stays like this. I guess everything revolves around Wade Egan, particularly now that Metcalf's out. We've got to watch him around the middle of the field and control him. But you're talking about Tanner Boyd being a turnstile. I think those big back rowers are going to try and make our halves, into turnstiles as well. Where do you see their strengths? The same as how I'm looking at it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, their right edge is it's the target for us. I think Dallin panics a little bit defensively. I think he's pretty one-dimensional in the way he tries to attack defensively. So he'll look to jam quite a bit. I think you can take advantage of that one with either kicking him behind him. And we know Jerome's got a great kicking game, a short kicking game in behind. So that's one. I think Rocco Berry is someone that's still learning defensively how to defend and make decisions. Obviously with Tanner Boyd and Marata Niokore is not a very good, he's a good front-on defender, but I think, and they prefer to move him to the middle quite a bit. So I think that's where Cape will come in, and I think Marata will go back to the middle of the field. That's been the preference of Webster earlier in the year. So I reckon that's where the reshuffle will come. And Marata will end up back in the middle and Capel will end up in the back row. So that's my prediction, but that's where I'm targeting. This is where it becomes a little bit of a conundrum for me because I think with that bit of fragility on their right side, Adam back at left centre doesn't give us that, what's the word, that attacking threat.
Penetration.
Yeah, you know what's funny, right? They've got Rocco Berry this week. I'd love to see Luke Lally this week playing left centre because it's not the same task as a Nwanga Tawase. But at the end of the day, Adams' defence gives us that. I don't think their right side attack won't be as threatful as the Roosters was last week. But yeah, Adam should be in the team, so it's hard to sort of go about that, making that change. But yeah, it is what it is.
We're all happy with the job that Tristan Hope did last weekend for us. How many minutes? I know it's guesswork, obviously, Adele, but how many minutes do you think Benji would plan to use him for? Is there a chance he doesn't come on the field at all?
Oh, it's going to sound weird, Rob. I might start him this week.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. Like something in me is telling they might look to start him because I think there was a lot of confidence built from him last week. I think the playing group, I think the coaching staff, I think the team as a whole probably takes a lot of confidence in the way that he played last week. And when I say the way that he played, look, I don't agree with how everybody else is perceiving it. Like I think if Uppy plays the same game that Tristan played last week, we say Uppy had just another normal game, right? So it's not where he did anything spectacular. But what he did was he built confidence for us in that our secondary dummy half can do a job. So potentially Uppy coming off 11 days, taking on the Warriors, first up in New Zealand, you may actually go, you know what? Let's get 60 to 65 minutes out of Uppy straight. And instead of making a change later on where you got to use 2 interchanges and bring Uppy off potentially and then bring him on, even though he has been playing 80, coming off an 11-day concussion protocol, maybe you look to start Tristan Hope, only use 1 change, bring Uppy on and then finish the game off. That's my sort of coaching instinct is potentially looking at that. What you do with that situation is you have that discussion in coaches' meetings, and then Benji makes the decision. That's what I'd be potentially throwing up. But yeah, if he doesn't start, then it becomes one: if Uppy's playing okay and he's feeling okay, well, Tristan doesn't come on. because I don't think Tristan's going to be one of those people where he's going to come on and make an impact in the game. Tristan's a solid hooker who's going to do a role for you. So that's sort of my point from that perspective.
I'll throw a bad one at you. Okay. If for some reason Jerome doesn't pull up well from Origin and can't play, I don't think I'd want to slot Heath in the halves. I'd probably want to put Adam back there. Who do you bring in to left centre?
Brett Naden or Luke Lowley. Luke Lowley or Brett Naden. I think the Magpies are playing in New Zealand anyway, so everyone's travelling.
Okay.
Yeah, mate, to be honest, it's probably sorry, I said Brett Naden. I shouldn't have said that. I put Luke straight back in the centre because he's obviously been there and done it for the last 2 weeks. And like I said, he's not going to have a bigger task than what he had last week. There's a little bit of extra combination. I think he'd attack us a little bit better. You literally try to keep as much stability from the week before as you can, and Adam just goes back to the halves.
Mate, anything else you want to touch on in terms of the preview and how the teams are going to play? Can you give us a prediction, the scoreline?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've sort of been in two minds about what I think this week's going to look like. I said this last week. I think the first 20 minutes are important, and that's even more reason why I want to give Tristan a bit of a boost early on. Get him start him into the game, and at the end of the day, if we're there in 20 minutes into the game and we're with them, and then Uppy comes onto the field, and I'm only talking about this for this year. I don't think it's a rest of the year sort of thing, but I just think for this week it might be a bit of a ploy to not start Uppy this week off the back of an 11-day concussion protocols. The boost of last week, the confidence of the players in regards to Tristan playing hooker and the job that he was able to do for us last week. Yeah, I think we're a chance. We've got to be in the game after 20 minutes. I've said this to you before. At the 20-minute mark, I want the possession to be 50-50. As long as it's 50-50, we're a chance. The moment we don't have equal share of possession after that 20-minute mark, I think we've always been in trouble this year.
Are you going to join us at the Orange Grove on Sunday? Because I know you're flying down this weekend, which was a bit of a pleasant surprise.
I will be in Sydney. However, as you know, my loyalty is to the great Mark and Andrew Bashara. So, you know what's funny? As I said that, Rob, I actually got a text message from Andrew Bashara saying, "Give me a plug." So I got ahead of you there, buddy. I'll be watching.
Well, he's got to come down now. We're giving him a plug.
I'll be watching it with those boys. So hopefully I can convince them to come down to the Orange Grove Hotel. And if they do, we'll all be there.
Okay, too easy, mate. Anything else you'd like to add?
As long as I get to sit next to Shane.
Oh, no, we'll make sure. I'll just stand up behind you, mate. You guys can have the microphones.
I
That's fine.
I don't want to be on the mic. I just want to stand next to Shane. That's all.
And just quickly before we let you go, and thanks for joining us, but is there anything from the current affairs situation that you want to talk about in terms of Richo, Benji, anything that you might have wanted to say Sunday that you've forgotten about and you want to say now? Like, you've obviously seen Richo on 360 and you've heard the talk about what he had to say about Benji and the players leaving and stuff like that. Is there anything else you want to add to that? You're all good?
No, I don't think we can be any more impressed as fans of how Richard presented himself on 360 last night. I think he was strong. I think he stood up for the club, stood up for Benji, stood up for the playing group, stood up for us fans. So, if you're complaining about the way Richo has presented himself over the last couple of days, you're someone that's hard to be pleased.
Fair enough, mate. Thanks again for joining us. And I hope to see you on Sunday. And I'll once this show's finished, mate, I'll be sending Mark and Andrew a text. And if they don't reply to me, I'll send another one at 1 a.m. this morning.
Look forward to seeing you both, Josh and Az, on the weekend.
Thanks, Adele. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks, Adele.
Thanks, Adele. Legend. Yeah, good. All right.
Yeah, the love he got today on Twitter was amazing.
Oh.
He gave you a shout out, and I shared his tweet, and mate, everyone loves him, and he's just, he just makes us a better unit by being in the team.
He's an absolute blessing.
From a Balmain perspective, he's our Ellery Hanley. Like, he really is. He's just come and taken it to a new level.
So we're going to lose him, and then he'll come back in about 5 years.
Well, he shouldn't be talking to us, mate. He should be working with the club. He shouldn't be with us.
Yeah.
Anyway,
are you saying he's too good?
I'm saying he should be part of the staff and helping us get some wins.
100%. Lower other grades this week. The Maggies are on fire. They beat the Roosters 28-14. They got the Wars this week. I believe the Wars are pretty high up. I do have the table here.
Top of the table.
Yeah, so the Wires are pretty good. Jesus Christ, they're 15-1. Is that right? 15-1, the Wires.
Yep.
Whew. Bloody hell. That's phenomenal for a team that has to fly in, fly out for a second grade.
Yeah,
team.
they're going over at the moment. I
the
might have to
Maggies
find who
are
that one loss was.
Maggies are up to 8th now, tied with the Doggies, still 3 points behind the Roosters in 6th. So, yeah, we'll see how they go. They got, Macassini and Taylor May looks pretty good in their first hit out for Cup last weekend. That was against Canberra, wasn't it? I got that wrong. They didn't beat the Roosters this week. They beat Canberra this week.
Yeah, they beat Canberra.
They beat Canberra this week. I didn't update. I put the wrong slide in there. They beat Canberra in Canberra. So that was a good win by the Maggies down there. And, yeah, I think most people probably saw the highlight of May crunching that guy from about 8 metres out, taking him back in goals. He's looking pretty good. Young Macca's a couple of weeks away from 18, so exciting times. If we can get a win this week, and like Adele said Sunday night, go into Leichhardt all pumped up, and we'll get some.
I'm getting excited for this game.
Yeah,
I'm not even thinking to Leichhardt.
I'm
getting pumped up for. I know. Look, it's a big jump. Not getting ahead of ourselves, but we can do it. I mean, we went very close to Campbelltown in round 4, and arguably, could have got the win that day as well. It was only a ridiculous late penalty, for Metcalf getting a 40-metre goal. Misses them against everyone else, but not against us.
And in the Jersey flag, they got the Wires as well. They beat the Raiders as well. There's someone in the comments mentioned earlier, all three men's grades getting wins.
Last minute try and conversion too in flag.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a comeback. Yeah, a bit of a comeback win there in flag. So good on those boys. They are playing the Wires as well at North Harbour Stadium at 10 a.m. Pretty good for the flag. They go to Fiji and New Zealand. Then you play flag. What a time to be alive. A 20-year-old touring the world playing rugby league. I think it was life. NRLW before we get into our tips, where is it? I've got NRLW and Harvey Norman up on the screen there. Broncos, too good. They're probably going to possibly win the comp.
Yeah, so at the moment, the Broncos are my premiership favourites. I'm expecting the grand final to probably be between them and the Roosters, who also put up a good showing in their opening game of the season. I thought we handled the Broncos fairly well in the first half, and while that might have been a little bit of rust on their part and them trying to find their combinations again, we defended really well. Our goal line defence, our goal line scramble was excellent. The 2 tries we conceded in the first half were both long-range efforts. One from Tamika Upton, probably about 10 metres off her own line, and one about halfway. I think it might have been one tackle after a scrum. We had no markers, and our defensive line hadn't been able to get back on side yet. So straight through the gap they went and scored again in the corner. So, and then in between those, we had a lovely try from Caitlin Turnbull down the short side from play the ball. She scooped it up, and they had no chance of stopping her. She went down over in the corner, which was really good to see. Great for her, considering it looked like she may not even get to play the game because she did a little bit of an injury, possibly a dislocated finger or something in the warm-up. So it was really good to see her get out onto the field and play the game. And then the second half happened, and we kind of fell out of it a little bit. They started to really find their groove, the Broncos girls. They had a lot of ball on against us, and for the most part, we just couldn't keep up with them. And eventually, they just started to run away with it a little bit. So while the scoreline doesn't look great, I think there were enough reasons there for me personally to not lose hope on this season just yet. Big game against the Bulldogs coming up. Round 2. Our team's unchanged, and the Bulldogs team is also unchanged, except for the fact that they've once again named Ebony Pryor to start and their number 14 to come off the bench, which was a bit of a late swap for them before their game against the Knights, which was a really interesting performance between those two teams to kickstart the Bulldogs NRLW career. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. I'll be heading out to Campbelltown on Thursday night to catch it and
Good on you.
go the girls.
Good for you.
Girls. Go the girls. Go the Blues. Go the Tigers. Righto. Tips. We're up to 7 games this week. We're almost done. I'm pumped for Origin tomorrow night, but I'm so pumped to getting back to 8 NRL games. All players.
Well, there's 7 this week. Yeah, 8 next week.
Back to 8 next week.
Well, while you're digging that up, Josh, I want to give a quick shout out to my nephew, Jordan Gabriel, who continues to get perfect rounds and doesn't ring his uncle up and give me any tips. So, Jordan, well done on getting a perfect round. Shoot me your tips. Yeah, Jordan does. So, well done, mate. I told you I'd give you a shout out, but if you didn't do your half hour of reading today, you're in trouble.
My 4-year-old's like 3rd in our tipping comp.
Really? Yeah,
this
crazy.
year. Yeah. I was annoyed. It serves him right, but I tipped the Roosters as well. But last week, I obviously typed in the tips for him, and he said Roosters within like a split second. He tipped the Tigers the week before, and then this week, oh, yeah, we're going to tip the Tigers this week. He's like, oh, but the Wars are at home. He calls them the Wars. He's 4. He's all over it.
He's all over it.
He watches.
He knows his stuff.
He literally, Saturday, Sunday morning, he gets me to put the minis from the games the night before. He's full into it. And then runs out for the Shamrocks on Sunday. Right, Sharkies and who are Sharkies playing?
The Dolphins.
Dolphins. We're all going Sharkies.
Yeah.
I was tempted to go Dolphins in this one.
I've done
Depends
no
on Origin
research.
backups. Depends on Origin backups.
Well,
Sharks don't really have any.
Cronulla's not affected, but the Hammer plays for the Dolphins. And have they got anyone else, the Dolphins, besides the Hammer in the forwards? They got one of the forwards. I can't think. Anyway,
I can't think either.
But it's a really hard game. Like I said, I haven't really done much prep into this, so don't take my tips as gospel. Cronulla aren't playing well, but they need to win, and I think they're coming off the bye, aren't they, Aaron? Cronulla's coming off the bye.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So it's a toss of the coin, but the Dolphins are playing really good footy. I would say I'd expect a high scoring game in this, just for the fact that they're both good with the ball in hand.
Yeah, Sharks are a funny one. They're just.
Are the Dolphins coming off a bye as well?
Yes.
Well, they're not playing us, so.
Yes. Yeah, they didn't play last weekend as well.
And the Warriors are.
You know, to work it out, I just got to work out who I left out of Supercoach or not. And I've realised I left Farnworth out, so yeah.
That's the thing too. I'm not doing Supercoach this year. It's an absolute nightmare for Supercoach.
It is.
As well, yeah.
Crazy.
Especially if you do draft, because draft you only get
I'm in dire
17
straits.
players. Do the Walk of Life?
Not quite.
McDonald Jones Stadium.
Newcastle and Melbourne.
The only thing that got me tempted to tip Knights, which I didn't, is maybe Storm Saturday. I mean, 72 hours, probably not really too bad for their backer-uppers, but yeah, I mean, the Knights, I don't know, maybe a bit of value.
I think the forward pack looks pretty good for Melbourne, but when you start looking at second rowers in the centre position like Chan, they've got a name on the wing there that I've never seen before as well. That I guess it's taking the place of young Farlongo, who ripped his hamstring a couple of weeks ago. Pappenhausen pulled out with hamstring tightness or something last week, so you don't know if he's 100% to back up. Newcastle are capable of an upset. They've actually got a really good back line. They've still got Best and Gagai in the centres. They've got Marju and Young on the wings. Obviously, not a bit of a slow halves combination in Colger and Hastings, but they could do it. I just think you just trust Melbourne more. Melbourne are a miles better team, even if they're depleted.
They have named their Origin players in the reserves, so there is a chance they could play.
Yeah, I think it'd be really unfair to ask Munster to back up, given the week he's had as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
So and
I'll be impressed if he plays tomorrow night. Straight up, I will be impressed.
I think he'll
if he
play tomorrow
plays.
night. Yeah, I don't think
it may just be a little bit of a
forgive
come
him,
down
forgive him.
after tomorrow night, potentially.
who wins Origin? Quickly.
I
So I've seen this movie before.
I know.
I'm going to
It's
say
simple.
Queensland. I think we've got a better team, but I
No.
think we're missing
Yeah,
some
we do,
forwards.
yeah.
I think we're going to get punished for playing Steph, for playing King, and not playing Terrell May, not playing Colin Matangi. I think, yeah, I'll see what happens. I hope,
dry track. I reckon we'll cover them up.
hope so. Hope so.
I want to tip the Blues. I want to believe.
On paper, we should smash them.
That was what was said about game 2 as well,
but
though.
they bloody
We should have.
15
it was raining.
15-1 bloody penalty count. That's not going to happen again.
Yeah, 10-0 at halftime or whatever it was.
It's,
Who's the next game?
the next game is the Sydney Roosters
At the Dragons.
at the Dragons at Cogra, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll tip the Roosters. They've got great form. They beat the mighty West Tigers. So, I mean, they lost to the mighty West Tigers. So you know, they
Bounce
came,
back.
they came
Bounce
close.
back.
Yeah.
That should be a good stat to know how many teams, what the record for teams after they play the Tigers.
But this is one, like anyone
yeah.
doing their tips, just don't put your tips in until you have to, because there's 4 Roosters players playing Origin. You don't know who's going to get injured and who isn't.
Yeah, I hate this. I love this time of year, and I also hate it.
Well, I put my tips in, but I remain flexible about them during the Origin period.
Well, when it gets later in the year, I'll actually be putting the wrong tips in on purpose, because all the Discord group can see who I'm tipping, and they can just adjust their tips according to my tips.
You've just got to try and wing it a little bit, like put in a few right, put in a few wrong. Because
I was top of the ladder for a while there. and
next week goes to full rounds for the rest of the season again, we get into the run home.
As you and I have gone Cows, this might be a bit of saltiness from us to beat the Bulldogs at home.
I'm just not liking what I'm seeing from the Bulldogs at the moment.
I think they're rattled.
I genuinely think they're a little bit, frazzled. They're a little bit
razzled dazzled.
And the Cows at home, they've put in some good performances at home. They put in some shockers at home too, to be fair. But I mean, while the Dogs keep trying to persist with this Galvin, however they want to use him, he's back on the bench this week. But we saw a couple of weeks ago that once he came onto the field, they kind of capitulated against the Panthers, and the Panthers came over the top of them. And he was one of the worst players in their team last week, particularly in the second half, as the Broncos came from the absolute clouds to stun them as well. So, I mean, they could keep falling further and further down the ladder. It is a bit of a roughy tip, but I'm backing the Cows to beat them. Their Origin players, I'm pretty sure, have all been named to start or on the bench. So, yeah, I'm going with the Cows.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's just realized the Supercars are there that weekend too. The track's right next to the stadium.
Oh, there you go.
I'm going the Dogs, guys. I've still got them to win the comp. I accept what you're saying about, the disruption, what have you, and
they're not going to.
It's not sour grapes. Galvin had the worst game of his career last week, and everyone says, everyone made mistakes last week. He single-handedly cost them the game. He pushed the pass at least a dozen times, and then when someone else did make an error, he was actually jacking up at him, which I thought was really poor. I think if they just stick with their normal team, they got Carraz and Crichton coming back into the team this week. That'll fix the right edge up. Burton will be back at 5'8", Sexton at half, Marnie at hooker. Just don't.
You don't think they're just.
I still they're winning the comp.
No, they're not.
They're clearly better than anyone else. Melbourne's the only hope. Raiders can't tackle out wide. They just look at the hole St George found in them the other night. They're brilliant to watch.
And us in the second
They got a
half.
great spirit about them. They've got all the ingredients, the Raiders, but you can strip them of numbers really easily. You can't do that with the Bulldogs.
Broncos have found a little bit of a groove again. I put them in as a little bit of a smoky now.
You wouldn't have said that at halftime last week, but would you? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, not just last week, but
if someone catches fire, then they can challenge.
It's the good time of the season to catch fire. So, I mean, I think at the moment Storm will be in the grand final. I don't think the Dogs are going to get there.
If the Dogs lose again, there might be a few car fires in Belmore Road.
I think them making and winning the grand final will be the worst thing for not just Belmore, but the city of Sydney in general as well.
Yeah.
I think they've got the best defence, and that's normally what wins premierships. But anyway, let's see what happens. I've got another beard bet with our mate Adele. So
you're going to shave your beard?
No, well, he's got to shave his beard if the Dogs don't make the grand final. So
if they don't make it,
if they make it, he wins a bet. So no, if they don't make it, he wins a bet.
Okay,
he keeps his beard if the Dogs don't play in the grand final.
Okay.
I think he's good. I think he's good for that one.
He's hoping. He looks like.
I want to get a side bet with
Moses. Dragons. No, is it Dragons Eels?
We got Warriors Tigers.
Warriors Tigers. Sorry.
And the Tigers are playing their 4th game in a row against a team off the bye. But
yeah, that was part of my stats man tonight. That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. But you know what's funny?
Do stats man. Sorry, Rob. Sorry, cut you off. Do stats man once, Rob.
Yeah, I was just going to say we came over the top of Penrith. We came over the top of Canberra. And they both came off the buys. The one team we didn't come over the top of with the bye was the Roosters. They were coming over the top of us.
Yeah.
So they've actually handled the teams coming off the bye pretty well.
Granted, we've had a couple of buys of our own in this period as well, which has given us the freshen up.
Sure. Well, give us your stats, man, while we're doing this.
Yeah, if it's
Well,
related.
I've got a few. That was the first one. The second one was one that's been brought up on the socials all week, and that's the Fainu full house, I think you called it, Josh, with all three Fainus.
Fainu flush.
That's a royal flush.
Yeah, all three brothers being the first trio of brothers to all score in the same game.
Although someone's claiming that a semi-final, the Mortimers did it.
In the 90s. Well, I said to Adele on Sunday night, I said the only ones that I knew that had like two sets of brothers were the Hughes and the Mortimer brothers. So there was Steve, Chris and Peter, and there was Gary, Graham and Mark. And I thought surely one of those, because like in the mid 70s as well, they were the entertainers.
Yeah,
they actually used to throw the ball around and stuff like that. And you thought maybe they did snag one, and they actually did apparently, which is
in a semi,
quite unique.
Said.
Yeah,
I haven't checked that.
No, I haven't checked it either.
And I mentioned my other one earlier, which was the we've already equaled last year's win total with still 8 games to go. So just wanted to ask you guys really quickly, out of our final 8 games, how many do you think
8
we could win? And how many do you think we are a genuine chance of winning? And how many would you be happy with us winning? Considering we've got the Titans twice, they're the only team below us that we haven't played yet.
We're going to beat the Titans twice.
We do have the Cowboys, the return fixture at Leichhardt. That's the other Leichhardt game.
Yeah, give me 3. Give me.
Obviously, this week we've got the Wars away.
You got Manly at Allianz.
4.
Cowboys at Leichhardt.
We've got a rematch with the Panthers.
I'll be content with 4. I'll be content with 4. Happy with 5. Ecstatic with more.
Trying to remember what we've also got the Raiders we've got the Raiders away as well.
Yeah, Titans, Raiders away. Well, the thing about the Raiders away, second last round, they might run away with the comp and might start.
I think we can win 5 of them, and I think we will win 2 or 3 of them. But possibility of winning. If I'm including this week, I think it's a possibility.
Yep.
I would say 5.
Okay.
So I would say the 2 Gold Coast games potentially, the Manly game, depending how Manly's travelling and who's in and out,
and the other
and then obviously this game this week, and there was one other game that I.
And then the other game I didn't mention out of the remaining 8 is we've still got the Dogs to play that we haven't played yet.
I would count the Dogs game and the Panthers game as losses at the moment. But but at the moment, I mean, you don't know what changes.
At the start of the year, I wanted us to be 6-6. That didn't happen. I wanted because I thought the second half of the year we'd be better, and so I think if how many games in are we?
I didn't have any
16
limitations, but we needed to keep, like you said, 50-50. So after 8-8, 9-9, 10-10, just so you know you're in the semi-final.
Yeah, I'll be content with 50%. Content with 50%. I'll be happy with.
We've got a long
5 out of 8.
Be 50% now, don't we?
Well, I mean, if he's
50% of the remaining
of the game.
Remaining games.
That's going to put us in a decent.
Put it this way: no matter what happens with the Titans between now and the end of the season, if we beat them in our 2 games against them, that gives us, with them having, I think, maybe 7 games other than the 2 against us, that gives us a 4-game buffer. We beat the rest of the season.
We beat them twice. There's no way we get
a photo tonight too. It might have been Clarkey or something that Hasler might be retiring.
Yeah, right.
End of this season. So again, they might have a coaching change at some stage.
I thought he has another year left on his contract.
Yeah, I think he's leaving.
A 3-year deal.
He'll probably be looking for a golden handshake.
They've obviously got some. Yeah, they've got some issues with him as coach.
Which seems to happen wherever he goes.
Have we done all the games?
No, we haven't gone through ours yet. And the rest. And
we were doing ours. That's right. Yeah, I've tipped New Zealand.
You've gone wise. As and I gone
Tigers. It's a class.
That's usually what happens.
I still think we can win, but I'm not. I mean, New Zealand are in the top 4. Pardon my French.
I think with this team that we've named, and the troops we've got coming back, I give us a genuine chance of winning this game. The Warriors, while they've got a really good replacement for Metcalf in Harris Tavita, I just don't see them being the same team they were with Metcalf, which is actually kind of funny because I remember saying after the Vegas game in round 1, the Warriors didn't look like they were going to be doing all that much this year. And then you look at them now, like they're top 4. Metcalf looked like a busted in that game in Vegas. He looked awful, looked like they weren't meshing and gelling at all. And then they went on a bit of a tear after that and have played some really good footy. And honestly, have been probably the best team in the watch to comp, in the comp, go about their business. I remember sitting there watching them play the Sharks at Shark Park not that long ago, thinking, holy crap, this is a really good quality team. But I feel like without Metcalf, they lose a lot of the quality there, and a lot of the combinations that they've worked really hard on building this year. They probably will beat us, but I'm tipping the upset. I think we're a genuine chance.
Yep. Obviously hard going over there, but a lot of Tigers fans over there. So
Well, they've won us. What? They've beaten us 8 times in a row.
have they?
Yeah, they've beaten us 8 times in a row.
Yeah, we said the Roosters.
I thought that'd be on your stats, man.
Why would I talk about something
I'm
negative
changing the
like
slides.
that?
We've still got 2 games to go.
Oh, hold on, and
Panthers-
another stats man I forgot to mention as well.
Statsman.
One more.
It's raining stats, man.
We're 5-1 this year when leading at halftime. That was Brandon
has
got me to
won
check
on
that
the live
at
stream,
halftime on the weekend. We were 4-1, and obviously since we got the win this week, we're 5-1. So let's lead at halftime and hopefully be good from there.
We've all gone Panthers over. Who are they playing?
Para at Combank.
Talau and Silva's club debut.
Yeah, he'll probably score from dummy half. So Penrith, watch your try line when he comes on in the second half, please. Because Galvin scored in his first game, didn't he, against Parramatta at Combank? So,
Yeah, he did.
So how ironic would that be if his best mate does the same thing against the same team?
No, that was he did
with
he
the
did score,
same
but it
team.
was at a core. Galvin did score against Parramatta in his first game for the Dogs.
Yeah,
but
it was a
at a core.
Dogs home
Was that
game.
at the core, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was. There you go. Again, watching it on TV, didn't know where the game was at. Gold Coast and Broncos last game.
Well, on Broncos. I think
Broncos
will smack them.
Yeah, they're still hot and cold. But
Yeah,
I know they played great.
Titans are a hard team to tip for a win at the moment. You need to actually see something from them, I think, before you can feel
Preston Campbell's back
any
this
good
week.
about tipping them.
Yeah,
Preston Campbell. That's a
Jaden
hell of a
Campbell.
comeback.
Jaden Campbell, showing my age.
You'd probably go all right, I reckon. Preston still.
Yeah, what did well, obviously not the same nationality, but what about when Richo said, who was it? Appy could still play till he's like 55 or something because he's Fijian. Yeah, that was a pretty funny line.
All right, that just about gets us to the end. We're going to record our Patreon extra episode. So if you're patreon.com/WestsLife, you get to join in. A lot of perks now. So you get to join in on the bonus show. So I'm sure Shano and the crew and Riff over there, keen to hear about Riff's road trip across America as well. So all sorts of just us talking footy, talking life, talking.
Yeah, they're going to get some stuff that I can't say on the podcast tonight.
All sorts of things going on in a bonus pod. If you can't make it onto that, you get to listen to that. So bonus episode. You also get the Adele show live and ad free as well. And the Discord do know maybe a big Adele show for a couple of weeks.
We got to
You wanna
advertise
talk?
it. Yeah, I'll advertise
Okay.
a couple of shows actually. So, all right, let's start this in order. We're going to be here 2:00 on Sunday to do a live stream of the game. Please join us from 1:00. Come and have a bite to eat and a drink and watch the game and cheer the boys on against New Zealand. Then on Monday night, Adele and I are joining Eddie Otto from the West Tigers podcast to do a special podcast with them. So that hopefully that'll go really well. And I should say the night before that, Adele and I are doing a review of the New Zealand game. So we're going to be really busy with 3 things to do within 2 days. Then next Wednesday night, we'll be back here to do our regular midweek show with Josh and Aaron. The following week, who are we playing? We're playing the Titans, so we're all going to be at Leichhardt. Are we going to do a show here, or are we going to do it over
That's the plan.
Is that the plan? Okay, so we're going to have Adele in
popping in for
person
that one
here on Sunday week, and it'll be nice and rowdy and a bit of fun.
Yeah,
We'll probably do that about 9:00 at night for the live show. They made
Depends on the closing time.
Yeah,
We'll work
depends
out
on the closing time of the pub
at
here.
Yeah.
And then the following night, not live in the studio. We're Josh and I are still deciding whether to go live with this or pre-record it. But Adele and myself and David Riccio will be having a chat. I'll basically be hosting the show and acting as a mediator, and Adele and David are going to have a bit of a debate about how the West Tigers are treated in the media. We're going to get Riccio's perspective on what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, not just on the field but as a club. And Adele, I'm sure, is going to bite back and have his say as well. And we'll that'll be a nice long separate podcast that we'll either go live with Monday week or we will hold off on that and maybe put it out Tuesday, Wednesday morning.
The good thing when it's Patreon only in the stream is the fellas can tell us if I can cut out when we stuff up our audio. So apologies for that. tonight. Shouts to our Benji tier, so the top tier legends on the Patreon: Will Sinclair, Shane Coward, Robert, aka Riff Raff over there in the US of A, Rob Aaron, Chris Cal, Gussie Harris, and Brendo, who's sitting here, not even paying attention to us.
He's chatting away with Jay.
Having a beer at the Orange Grove. Good on you, boys. Thanks for coming, boys. But yeah, thank you to everyone. No need for me to plug all the things we've got going because you just did it beautifully.
Okay, thank you. Kind of.
All right, let's go chat to our Patreon legends. For everyone else, yeah, like Roberto said, come join us here at the Orange Grove on Sunday. You missed a great one last Sunday. It could be another special one. You boys coming Sunday? They'll be here. Thumbs up.
50% success rate like you wanted.
As always,
go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks for listening to West Tigers Life Podcast. What a great show. Love that Rob Bichara. Check out all their episodes and content at westtigers.com.au. What great content. Watch Coach's Report with Otto live by joining patreon.com/WestsLife. What a great deal. Join their Discord as well. Wow, fantastic. Please grab that subscribe button by the